Easier it is to stay on the wheels on a sort of billiard board surface like we've got today versus, a very rough one, the extreme being cobbles, I guess, but even just a rough road, it can be just a little bit more difficult to stay on the wheels, and you just use that bit more energy and don't get quite as much saving from being behind other riders. But the perfect surface for them today.
One of the oldest inhabited cities in the world. Matera is where we have. It is absolutely spectacular. It's seen many a finish of the Giro d'Italia down the years. We talked about some of the famous winners there. The last winner was John Degenkolb. The Munk won. The Silvers won here before. Cipollini on a couple of occasions. Baldato, who sends his team to the front there in the orange, CCC. But it was Degenkolb last time. Who is it going to be 7 years down the line? Sunweb, of course. Winners 7 years ago. They have Michael Matthews. Cofidis returned to the front. But is Elia Viviani there or thereabouts? Any of those drop riders back? The way that things have slowed down relatively as they didn't quite catch Jimmy Whelan, you would imagine that some are back. But we keep our eyes on. And how are the legs after being dropped? Dan talked about the state of these roads. It's very different today, Brian, to what we were doing yesterday. There were sinuous roads, weren't there? There were country roads. We seem to get those out the way in the first half of the day stage. And it's been a long, straight main road here, as you've got to take the right turning at the end of the motorway, haven't you? And Cofidis just about managed it.
Yeah, you don't want to go left. That's your day over. But yeah, it's kind of a bit of a stalemate at the moment. CCC coming up to the front in the orange. They would desperately love to try and win here. I can't really see where that's going to come from at this stage, but they can only hope. And just looking a little bit further down, it seems to be a kind of slow build-up, saying that Poyanski has been doing a long turn at the front here. Starting to see that UAE, Michael Matthews coming up in the left-hand side there, and we might see some late action from the likes of Lotto, but you have to say Van Hokke has done a tremendous job so far in this race to keep up there in the general classification. So I think now we're starting to see a little bit more of a battle towards this slip roads and gaining position.
And we saw what the finish looked like, didn't we, with Bernie Eisel? It goes uphill pretty steeply in the final few hundred metres as well. Twists and turns at that point at 2.7 kilometres to go, where there is the turn, and then quite a steep gradient, although it's pretty short. It's not the most simple of finishes. Ineos Grenadiers moving up at the bottom of your picture there, and at the back of the line is Ben Swift, so they will give it a go today. The British champion sitting on the wheel of the blue jersey. People Ganna in front of him, they're looking to take a third win in 6 days. They'd have won half the stages if they can do it today.
Yeah, and as Dan mentioned, Narvaez is also there as well. Good type of finish for that rider, but tell you what a turn Poyanski's put in. This climb that they're on at the moment is 2.4 kilometres in length, 4.4%, so into headwinds, it's not easy.
Matera picture in the late afternoon sunlight. Narvaez is the Ecuadorian who's already been the national champion at such a young age before he went to, first of all, what was Quick Step, now to Koenig, and then to Team Ineos. These rides for Ineos Grenadiers. There's Rowan Dennis in front of the pink jersey, who's Joao Almeida. And Manuel Ebuaro still close to the front. But here come Team Sunweb. And we're approaching that point. We heard it from Bernie Eisel, didn't we? And I think we're getting a clear view now as Battagline is brought to the front too by Bahrain McLaren. But we're getting to that point where we turn off the main road and all the fun starts. We've had our little detour around town on the ring road, but we're about to turn off this surface, and you can just tell now, Dan, because the fight is getting pretty ferocious again.
It is all spread across the road. I noticed from the overhead shots that Jumbo-Visma are either being very relaxed or they're determined they can time things just right. They have moved up slightly, as you can see, on the left-hand side of the bunch, all in yellow there, but they'll want to make sure that Steven Kruijswijk is up towards the front before things get more narrow and more twisty. Battagline, well, you wouldn't count him out from a stage finish like today, would you? And he's a little bit like Diego Ulissi in that he always shines more on home soil than anywhere else. Haven't seen much from him over the last few months, or perhaps even a year or two. Late signing for Bahrain McLaren, but I think it probably is him that they are working for today.
He was up in the sprint the other day on the flat, and you'd expect him more to be involved on finishes such as this, rather than that complete pan-flat finish we had on the last day in Sicily. Today's stage 6 start in Castrovillari was brought forward 2 days after the reorganisation of the calendar and the rejigging of the Giro d'Italia route. And a lovely product of that has been an addition of a finish here in Matera, one of the oldest inhabited cities in the world, with all of its jewels and ancient ruins. Today, somebody taking a prize away, a Giro d'Italia stage win. The Maglia Rosa's looking good. He's been protected despite a bit of an incident around 20 kilometres further back. He's in the bunch and being looked after by the Koenig Quickstep. Joao Almeida leads now by almost a minute, looking to keep the jersey for a 4th consecutive day. Everybody, though, in that general classification wants to steer clear of incidents and accidents, and that is one of the features that is driving the fight for position at the front of today's bunch. A 4-man breakaway for Porti, Whelan, Zana and Bais has already been wheeled in, and we are looking for a final few complicated kilometres in and around this city in Basilicata, the far south of Italy. It's a nice sunny day compared to yesterday. There go the Ineos Grenadiers on the right-hand side, looking for back-to-back wins. Today they're looking at either Swift or Narvaez. Alongside them in the turquoise, you can see Astana trying to protect, quite simply, their only ambition for this race, which is the GC with Jakob Fuglsang. Through the centre, you can see Chimolai being brought up to the front as well for Israel Startup Nation. The only team on the start list that in their history has never won a stage at the Giro d'Italia. It's been a long time for some teams, though. Cofidis, they haven't been to this race much in the last few years. 10 years since they won a stage. Mounier was the last winner in 2010. All sorts can happen here.
What's your yellow? The pink jersey.
To the pink jersey
squeeze.
There. It's chaotic, Brian, and you can see Ulisi being kept at the front. Second wheel in the white by Biel.
Yeah, a lot of riders moving up, a lot of touching of its shoulders, moving around, trying to follow your teammates. Very difficult to be able to do this, and this is what you have to do. But Spell just losing the wheel of Spell there. Very difficult to keep any sort of control. You either ride second wheel at the front. Very, very difficult. Dennis moving up with Ben Swift in the left-hand side with Narvaez, but yeah, we're getting towards the kind of first pinch point now, and we can see a big acceleration from many of these teams.
They will know all what to do in these final 5 kilometres. They'll have the numbers of the kilometres to go written down in front of them on the stems. They'll be getting orders from the cars, and this is a fast fight to the finish now, despite the complicated terrain. It goes uphill roughly for a kilometre from 5Ks to go here, then downhill to 3Ks, half a K flat, and at 2.7 kilometres to go, you've got that twist and turn, and then the steep gradient where all the fun really does begin.
Well, this is a real battle now. Ron Dennis, time trial specialist, sitting at the front. Manuel Boaro, you can see the pink jersey having to come up pretty much on his own, and sometimes you have to do that. You cannot always kind of sit back and use your team. On the right hand side, Nico Dines for Sunweb. It's just a battle to keep your sprinter or your general classification rider towards the front now.
Tony Martin doing just that on the right-hand side in the yellow jersey. It's his job now to protect, at least for the next 2 kilometres, Steven Kruijswijk. And look at how chaotic this is getting. It's a real fight. It's fast and furious and extremely dangerous here.
But you can see how some of the riders are moving up easy towards the front. But Manuel Boaro, his face on him, he's absolutely grimacing there to keep Fuglsang. He's dying, but he's still doing a terrific job of making sure his team leader is right up there.
Most people choosing the left-hand side of the road, but Groupama and Sunweb on the right-hand side, our left as we look at it. You can see that Groupama FDG are looking after their French national champion, and behind, Domenico Pozzovivo, the local rider, looking to just save the day on GC. He rides for NTT, of course, the rider from Basilicata, and fighting all alone in the peloton here. There's a lot of isolated leaders now, Brian.
Yeah, it's absolutely chaotic now. This washing machine effect, it's you know, spinning round at the moment, and you know, everybody absolutely everywhere. But who better to come to the front than Filippo Ganna to help you? And on the right hand side, you can see Tony Martin, two of the best time trialists in the world.
Falls flat downhill for a little bit here as well, and Filippo Ganna, yesterday's stage winner, the current king of the mountains, is in the blue jersey on the left-hand side, guiding down Team Ineos Grenadiers. Behind him, the British champion Ben Swift, and on third wheel there, in the navy blue, the former Ecuadorian national champ, Jonathan Narvaez. Off the main road they finally come, and this is the turn into town. And this is a fight for narrow roads, twists and turns and changing gradients. Look at this, 64 kilometers per hour into this turn. Ganna winning the battle right now. Tony Martin doing the same. Pink jersey in about the top 15 positions. He's doing okay after having to make that early effort to make up those positions when he was isolated.
But that's good. He made that effort himself. You can't always sit back when you've got this kind of washing machine effect happening all the time. You have to help yourself at times.
Eight to 3 kilometers to go on stage 6 of the Giro d'Italia. 300 metres and we come to one of the most important points in today's stage. Bernie Eisel's already flagged it up for us, and look at the ferocious fight for this point. They all know you have to be close to the front here just in case, and Filippo Ganna putting down all the power to win this turn, to get that little bit of road there is, and to start going uphill again. Ganna wins it, Swift is on his wheel, and you've got riders fighting for position all the way. I can just see the gaps opening up. This is very complicated, Brian. You can see that Demar is close to the front, and it's his teammates now looking around, looking where he is, and making sure he's in the right place, the French champion. Sagan there on the left-hand side as well.
Yeah, a good place to have a go, because it's all the GC riders up towards the front now, so nobody deciding to have a crack. Lacey in the left-hand side there just moves up a little bit. Everybody's been very, very cagey. If you go now, you don't have any chance of sprinting towards the end, but Taconi Quickstep with Honoré, who was up there in the first uphill sprint, is now leading the peloton. Kreuzbeck in the right-hand side, but everybody's just waiting, and Sagan has got Micah looking after him.
For Ineos Grenadiers, it certainly does look like it's for Narvaez now, the way that Ben Swift is sitting in front and protecting him. Peter Sagan looking very good again as it starts to slow down a little, and it's Sagan's team that's taking over control with Matteo Fabbro, the young Italian climber who is so very, very good on Mount Etna, leading things up in the black and green there. Just over 2 kilometers to go now. Behind being dropped, we've got riders out the game. Movistar there, that was Antonio Pedrero. Oh, and he didn't want to lose any time. A GC rider losing time there. Talking to GC riders, Karsbeck's right up at the front.
Yes, and Ben Swift are now drifting back through this group, so he couldn't hold on to the front. So we're over this steep climb now. Perfect time for anybody with the legs to have a go, but you can just look at the riders, their demeanour and everything. They're on the limit at the moment. Fabbro, we've seen him do this before. He's actually killing all the riders behind him. Sheer effort here, and yeah, this is going to be a hard sprint for all these riders. And looking a bit further back, Arnaud Demar has been pushed back to about 20th place.
Demar not quite out of it yet, but he is drifting indeed. You can see Sagan is there in the cyclamen jersey. Alongside him is Narvaez in the navy blue. Just behind in the white you can see Michael Matthews. Not too far away is Diego Ulissi. And Davide Ballerini is still there as well.
Matthews is just on the wheel of Peter Sagan. He's got a teammate just behind him, but Fabbro doing another good job here. Honoré just looks around, sees that Ballerini is here.
They're going to have to be careful with gaps as they come to the final kilometre here. The twists and turns again, those speed killers and 90-degree turns. Just outside the Fiammarossa, the Flamme Rouge, 1 kilometre to go. And Matteo Fabbro really maturing into a tremendous rider for Bora Hansgrohe. Is his leader going to thank all of the work they've done today? Is Peter Sagan about to win? But we're getting moves on the right-hand side, and the shark is biting. The shark is biting in the south of Italy. Vincenzo Nibali giving it a dig. 900 metres to go. Looks behind. Knows he's being followed. It's being stretched out here, and the pink jersey is following well, but Nibali takes this from the front. What a surprise.
Yeah, he's looking to create any gaps. If he sees an opportunity, he'll take it. Now Sagan has been propped on the front. Michael Matthews definitely there. Micah now takes it up. This is good for Peter Sagan.
Ulisi is still there behind. You can see plenty of gaps behind and plenty of riders out the game. A couple of Groupama FDG riders looking behind to see who's there. Here comes Fulsang as well, but Demar is making up ground. Demar is returning to the front, but I'm not sure if it's in time. We're about to take that final turn that we saw with Bernie Eisel. 300 metres to go up here, and it's up to the line. It's Fulsang who's trying to pull it out. You can see the white jersey of Matthews up on the left-hand side, and suddenly out of nowhere, Arnaud Demar is in the perfect position. Demar is going to go and launch the sprint. He's being chased by Vendrame. You can see Demar going all the way. Arnaud Demar, this is wonderful. And the French champs at it again. 2 wins for Arnaud Demar at this Giro d'Italia. What positioning, what recovery. He was losing ground all the time, but Arnaud Demar is the biggest strong man in the world right now. And no wonder he's getting congratulation. I doubt he's ever had to work harder for a win at the end.
That was mightily impressive there.
That is incredible. He was drifting, he was slipping, and suddenly, right up before that final 300 metres turn that we saw Bernie Eisel pointing out as absolutely vital, he made a huge effort to get to the front and still had enough to bin everybody behind in the sprint.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. I mean, you think that the talent that was there with Sagan, Matthews, and he won it so easily as well. Unbelievable. You can see it here that Sagan is sitting, what, 5th wheel. Where is Demar? Demar's just sitting there at about, bottom of your screen, about 20th position. No panic, just bides his time. At this stage, you think, well, he's out of this. Nibali is at the front. Sagan in 3rd place there. I think Sagan was a little bit too forward at this moment, but you can only think that Demar was just holding, trying to get his breath at this moment, hoping that they would slow a little bit. Micah now comes to the front. Looks like Cimolai Ballerini is there. All the time they're looking back. Look at the front side of the Giro rider. He's looking behind. Where's the French champion? Where's the French champion? He comes up on the right hand side here, just moving up into this corner. And he comes up with speed. Look at the speed he comes up at. It battles his way through this double left hand onto the wheel, 4th place. Sagan, he's nowhere. And look at the effort. Goes left, easy. Just blows everybody off the wheel. Incredible.
It's Arnaud Demar, followed by Michael Matthews and Fabio Fellini, I think. That looked like it might have been Molano just behind him. Chaotic finale as we expected, absolutely thrilling, and the biggest thrill seeker of them all amongst the fast men at the moment is Arnaud Demar. 12th victory of the season, 2nd at the Giro d'Italia this year. He now moves into the Maglia Ciclamino. Such strength, but allied to all of the other qualities Brian was talking about. A real racer. You have to be aware of the moments. We talked about his lead out. Tell you what, he did a lot of that on his own. Yeah,
I was about to say that. It's, you know, his team never had to do too much towards the end. Okay, positioning, but what strength in the end.
Arnaud Demar wins stage 6 of the Giro d'Italia ahead of Matthews and Fellini with Molano and Cimolai.